Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of a show that you probably thought was dead, but we're not going to go anywhere. It's Tales from the Spinner Rack. Back at it again. We are back at it again. Welcome, everyone. We are back. Yes. It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you, but Corbin got it.
When did Matt start being around?
But we things happen.
Exactly.
Let's be
Life,
honest, things
man.
happen.
Life is whack.
Life happened. People got busy. Comic books got in short supply, and now they're not even existing right now. So you're asking, what are they gonna do with a show called Tales from the Spinner Rack when they've got no new comics to review? Well, here's what we're gonna do. The proof is in the pudding. It's the name's in the title. The title says it all. Tales from the Spinner Rack. So we're going to bring you some entertainment from different parts of the comic book industry, not just new release comic books. We're going to do lots of great things on this show. So if you're into comics and you're into superheroes and you're talking to comics, everything comics, this show is everything comics. Unlike our sister podcast, Absolute Geek, which Corbin and I are a part of, we talk all of pop culture. It's vast. We encompass a little bit of everything. This is strictly comic books and maybe a little comic book movies since they go hand in hand. But Tales from the Spinner Rack is back. We're going to be here every Sunday, hopefully.
We got
hopefully, it. Asterisk, hopefully, 3 o'clock Arizona time. Ready to entertain you, to give you a little bit of entertainment to end your weekend, to start your work week or your week, depending on your situation. I know everyone's in a different boat right now. Some of you are working, some of you aren't, so it is what it is. But, yeah. So how have you guys been? Go ahead and introduce yourselves. If you don't know, if you don't listen to the Absolute Geek podcast and you're just stumbling across this, my name is Matt.
My name is Corbin.
And I am Jay.
So let's start this off like they don't know us, all right? I know a lot of people who watch this show are going to know us because they watch Absolute Geek. And so I transitioned this show from being a standalone over to Absolute Geek. So it is now encompassed with that. So a lot of us know that. But why don't you go ahead and tell us a little about yourself, Jay, for people who might not know, and your experience with comics and your background in comics, everything like that.
Sure. Well, I used to be on another podcast, a pop culture podcast, and I left that and started my own thing called Audio Ammunition, which is mostly music related, but we do dabble in pop culture. I started reading comics, when I was like maybe 10, 11 years old. I wish I could say I haven't stopped, but there was that period when, driver's licenses were getting, we were getting our cars and, that kind of lifestyle. And so I kind of dropped comics for a while, but I've been reading them again since, maybe like early 2000s. So it's still been a while that I've been back into stuff. And I mostly read like newer comics. I do, I still pick up like the older arcs, trades of major events and stuff. But for the most part, I'm all about Wednesday. Wednesday is best day of the week.
There you go. And the man who needs no introduction, the comic book barbarian himself, the man who can lift more comic book boxes than any man can. It's Corbin Ford.
Oh my God.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your comic book background, Corbin.
Matt is bringing the humor heat today. Okay. My name's Corbin, comic book barbarian. Love my comics. Been a big part of my life always. Batman is my all-time favorite on the DC side. Spider-Man for the Marvel side. You can't make me choose between better publishing team. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to read all of them. Cinematically, I will say Marvel just because, come on, it's obvious. You always hear me try to get any plugs in for Batman, Gotham by Gaslight. I think it is a severely underrated book. You will always hear me take cracks at Tom King for his Batman run because I think it was horrible. All right. I'm always picking up trades, picking up comics. I have a problem for that, but I don't think it's a problem. It's something to be embraced. So really loving that.
It's a problem. Let's be honest. It's a problem.
Always looking for the next Comic Con. We're also trying to manage money, so I have some capital for said con. And I'm always in Matt's ear about outlandish comic ideas that may or may not never be seen. So I won't share them here because who knows, you may see them on a future episode. I'm not doing that. Messing with Jay and the crew, and I'm just excited for the show. So yeah, that's me.
If we have any Comic-Con promoters out here listening to this show, and they want Corbin to be a guest, there's one thing you have to have before Corbin will say yes, and that's geek speed dating. If you don't have geek speed dating, Corbin's a no-go. He's not coming to your show. So
that's the truth, though. So let's make that happen. You're right, Matt. Appreciate that.
And if you're first turning into this and you have no idea what Absolute Geek is or what Tales from the Spinner Rack is or who we are, my name is Matt. I've been collecting comics since I was knee-high to a PI. The very first comic book I ever owned, bought for me, was Spider-Man 375. It's that gold cover with Spider-Man and Venom fighting on the front of it. That's the first comic book I ever owned in my life. So that's where I started, and I've been going ever since, man. And still going. I collect modern and old school books. Always try to add to my collection. Always. And I surround myself with people who I consider to be a vast plethora of comic book knowledge. That's what I think everyone in this group and Absolute Geek is there a encyclopedia of comic book knowledge. I can go to any one of these guys and say, hey, what's this? And they're on top of it like nobody's business. So we're
here for you.
There you go. That's what we're going to do here in the Spinner Rack, though. We're going to talk comics, everything comics, and that's and nothing but comics. And so let's go ahead and kick it off. We have no new releases books to review like we were before. We got that coming whenever they start shipping books, yada, yada, yada. First of all, we kind of talked about it on Friday, but I want to get your thoughts real quick before we dive into our list. Thoughts, Jay, on not Dan. You always say Dan did idiot, and you got me getting near his head.
You got me.
Dan Slott leaving Iron Man.
Good. I've one thought. Good.
That's everyone's response.
It's turned into something so convoluted, and it's almost like when that horrible storyline and everyone pans it, it's been trying to get fixed, and in that process it gets even worse and worse, and it becomes like this teetering block of just garbage, and it's about time someone just knocks it over and starts over again.
Very nice. I couldn't have said it better myself.
I mean, I had muted myself, so I started talking.
I agree. You've been here before, Corbin.
I know. We've done this. No, I agree completely with what Jay's saying. I have such a soft spot for Dan Slott that it's good. It's good that he's no longer an Iron Man, because that had run his course. I had mentioned this to Matt before. He had made it seem as if it was idea that it was his. It was always planned for him to leave at issue 25, which means it probably was never planned for him to leave at issue 25, as we all know. And you know what? I mean, I think if he's, again, I hate to draw a comparison to Tom King, but I'm on brand, so here I go. If he's in a structure where he's able to write a book without, setting too high expectations, keeping it focused and tight throughout, I think he can flourish in that role, because he is a very good writer. But sometimes he gives too much rope. He doesn't know what to do with that rope, and then because we're like, oh, it's Dan Slott, the expectations are sky high, and let's say he brings a C+ game or a C-. We're expecting A+ because he's on A-listers like Spider-Man Iron Man, since the MCU's been on a A-lister, in my opinion. Then you don't reach up those expectations. It's like, why are you here? You know what I mean? So I'm with you, Jay, and it's kind of simple. It's good. I just feel bad because I think that Dan Slott could thrive in the right role. I just don't know what that role would be right now.
Yeah, that's one thing I just want to end with. I do respect Dan Slott as a writer very much, but this the Iron Man run was it's just not him, I guess.
It's very much like we said with Dan Slott is known for he can open, but he can't close. He gets you to that mountaintop, but it never delivers. And if you watch any of our shows, you know anything about movies, sticking the landing in the end is the most important part. And he fails to do that. But before we get into our lists here and the topic of the show, have you guys picked up any new books during quarantine? Anything you want to share with our listeners? Any goodies you may have splurged on, or since all the conventions are done and canceled for the most part, any convention money you've had saved up that you're splurging?
Give me literally 5 minutes and I'll be right back. I don't need 5. I just need a minute.
I say 5 minutes. What do you think this is? Look at the star power here. Look at the star power. I give him a fantastic intro fit for a king, and he's like, let me just take my sweet ass time to get whatever I need to get. Right?
I'm gonna go right get my books. I'll be right back.
Right.
All right.
What you got, Jay?
Well, so yeah, right before, not before, but after it was announced that no new books were coming out, I went and just grabbed a ton of stuff that I didn't get for whatever reason. Either I thought, because comics being so expensive, you have to really, or at least for me, I have to really pick and choose what I'm going to get. I can't just grab fistfuls of whatever I want. So I went back and I got some series that I wanted to get, but either just didn't have time, I didn't have the money at the time, and they just got away from me. But two of the ones that I was the most impressed with is, so I'm a big fan of Immortal Hulk and Al Ewing's writing in that. So I went back and got Valkyrie, which he does with, the Jason Aaron. And I went back and got Guardians of the Galaxy that
Nice.
he started, that rebooted with him. And I haven't been a big fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy books. I think they've been pretty terrible for a while. But Al Ewing's reboot is really, really good. And he has a really neat way of just getting inside a character and really making you feel for them and their situation. It's like he takes it to another level. And he did the same thing with Valkyrie, who is Jane Foster. And there's been like 9 issues of Valkyrie so far. I picked all of them up, and 4 or 5 of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I got them all. And so far, they've been great. And I think I'm going to start reading these regularly.
There you go. I did. Corbin, what you got, man?
Okay, so I went to my local comic shop after like the last time we recorded. I picked up all the back issues, of course, that I hadn't gotten to. I don't know why it's still on Legion of Superheroes, but
yeah, I was going to say
accidents happen. Then I a whole trade. This was the greatest Batman stories ever told. Now, I'm sure you've all seen these floating around. My LCS has a really like good set of half off trades. This one's actually printed 1988. So any of the quote unquote greatest Batman stories ever told up to 1988, I grabbed.
Is Gotham by Gaslight in there?
It is not. But Gotham by Gaslight didn't come out till 1989. Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm sure it would be in there.
Newsflash, it still wouldn't be in there. Spoiler alert, it's still not going to be there.
Oh my goodness. Then I grabbed this. I love Kingdom Come. It's one of my favorite books. Obviously, Mark Waid and Alex Ross on the art. And this one is the edition with all of the sketches and everything that afterwards. So the book literally is half story. The story ends right here. And the other chunk of it is literally him describing every character in the story, from the inclusion of Red Robin and the offspring of Wonder Woman or whatever, and Aquaman. It's literally all these characters, because when you look at the book, especially with the context and the depth of the story, there are so many characters in there that some you can pick out of the eye of like, okay, normal DC heroes, and others you're like, who are they? But the fact that everyone had a comic book background from those two just further impressed upon me the greatness of the story, that they're projecting this future and they have to come up with all these characters. So I really enjoyed that. That's why I picked it up. Then I had to, because I was going to grab the hardcover version of the Tales from the Dark Multiverse. I want to support my LCS. This was on sale for like what, $20. So I just grabbed every one of them again because I have a thing about hardcovers. I'm not really a big fan of them. So I mean, I don't like the dust jacket. I don't like keeping it without the dust jacket.
They're harder to dry out when they get wet from your water heater, huh?
Oh my god! Yeah, you're right. I see you digging at me. And then my LCS also knows that I love Wizard magazine. So every time they come across,
man, I miss Wizards so much.
I never had the joy of experiencing them like as they came. Sucker for them all now. And
so,
aside, and then it's for $1 I get them. And so I got this one, which is the JLA edition, and then I have another one that is just out of reach, so I'm not going to grab it. That's just on the X-Men. And I also placed a hold on a bunch of stuff on eBay for Marvel Essential. I just wanted to build my collection out. And I am also talking to Fantastic Worlds Comics about getting a couple of books that they have to me, but we're trying to figure out the distance and shipping and traveling thing. So I've been using that money, like you said, well spent, in my opinion, Matt. I'm trying to load up on this and then put a cap on it in hopes of a future invention.
There you go. Well, after they canceled San Diego Comic-Con, and after I got done for about 3 hours of ugly crying in the shower, I decided that I was going to spend my money on some books that I've always wanted, but have for whatever reason or not have always avoided me. So during this whole Corona thing, in using my Comic-Con money, I picked up a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 122, The Death of the Green Goblin.
Is it really 122? I'm just kidding. I was going to make a joke. Only we would know.
I picked up Secret Wars number 8, the first appearance of the Black Suit Spider-Man.
Sick.
I picked up a 9.0 Uncanny X-Men 266, first continuity appearance of Gambit, signed by Chris Claremont and Joe Rubenstein.
That's a beaut.
And then I got the Mecca, the book I've always searched for as long as I've been a collector, but for some reason has always avoided me, but it avoids me no longer. Amazing Spider-Man 300, signed by the Todd Father himself. 8.
Wow.
So that's what I've been spending my con savings on. So
that's fire. I already have. Matt knows this. I already have a Batman Beyond run that is going to take my next check, I'm sure. And wow, those are. Every time I see those books, I'm like, I'm not there at my. I'm not. Matt's like a level 10 of comic collecting. I'm still like a level 3, but I can't wait to get there.
I mean, I don't know if I'd be level 10. I think a Kyle and a Brian who.
There's 20 levels.
Beautiful books. Okay, then I'll take 10. If there's 20 levels, I'll take 10. But that's what I spent my quarantine stuff on. So, it's been a blessing and a curse, I guess, all the way around. But
yeah. So
let's get into this. So what we decided to do, since there are again our no new comics, we decided to take our top 10, or in Corbin's case 7. Unless he's going to pump out 10 somehow.
I'm going to pump out 10 with the honorable mentions that are no longer honorable mentions.
We decided to open the Marvel Universe to any character, and we're going to design our own Avengers teams. And we're going to go through and break them down and talk about why they're on our team, where they fit, what kind of mission you think this team would be fantastic for. And then we're going to have a poll. If you're watching us on YouTube, we're going to have a poll on our YouTube, and you get to choose who you think picked the best Avengers team. And we'll even have a little area for it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Absolute Podcast. We'll have a little picture paste on there for it as well, and social media. But you get to choose which one of us picked the best Avengers team. Who wants to kick us off? Do we want to give our entire team, or do you want to go position by position?
I think we should do position by position.
Well, let's elaborate on positions then, because what do we think here?
Okay, number slot. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm like
10 up, or do you want to give your whole team? And because I figured you could give your 10 and kind of add why you got them, but unless that might be a little bit boring to the listeners, we can give our whole teams and then kind of discuss why we did what we did.
I like doing it one at a time, and then just giving it like a brief explanation.
All right. Well, who wants to kick us off then?
why not myself with my number one choice? I'm just kidding. I like how I nominated myself to go first.
Hey, that's fine. I'm expecting your entire team to be different versions of Black Panther, anyways.
I was about to say it's the Black Panthers. Ironically, though, the number one choice was T'Challa himself. So I had to pick him. I mean, you're literally the king of the ruler of Wakanda. I said king of Wakanda. You have all these resources at your disposal. Forget your own attributes physically as the Black Panther and everything that comes with that. You're the leader of this entire nation. You're a diplomat. You're a warrior. You're level-headed in terms of when to attack rationally and when not, except for the immediate death of his father, and of course, who would be in their right mind at that moment. And I think that he is the most equipped to be one of the leaders of this team. I wouldn't say the head-on leader, because the Avengers to me is a team of literally the best heroes that we have. All of them are uniquely qualified, and I would think that leadership would be at the top of those attributes. However, the combination of the Black Panther has not only financially, but physically, mentally, I think makes him most equipped to be my number one choice. So, T'Challa, you are my number one.
You're going
He's
number
leading
one.
the
He's
Avengers
leading.
right now.
You're going
I'm
number
leading
one, huh?
T'Challa.
Jeez. All right. So we're gonna go 1 to 10 then. That's where you're gonna start.
That's how I'm doing.
1 to 10. All right.
Let's
So
get it.
my number one, without question.
Oh no.
Actually, I'm gonna let Jay go first. I'm gonna let Jay.
Okay.
I won't be greedy because I run. I don't want to feel like I'm running things here, so I'll defer to Jay.
Okay.
Well, whatever. Okay. So my number one choice may be a little cliche, but I'll explain. My one is Captain America, because I can't imagine having the Avengers without Cap. I can't imagine a character that is just like the glue that holds a team together like him. The guy is a strategist, and I think his moral compass helps just guide the trajectory of a team like this on missions when things are looking bad, things are getting down. I think this guy has the ability to rally the troops, and I can't think of anybody else. I can't even imagine an Avengers team without Cap. So
I couldn't choose somebody that was on the wrong side of the Civil War, but he's in my list. But I just had to say that. But okay, I like it, Jack. Wow.
I gotta give it up to Jay. That's why he got the hand clap that Corbin clearly was not a fan of.
Apparently,
Jay got the hand clap because I'm right on board with Jay. Number one, Captain America. You can't choose a better leader. There's no better leader out there, moral or otherwise, to lead the Avengers. It's not Tony. It's not T'Challa, even though he's a fantastic character. I think when it comes down to it, doing the nitty-gritty, doing the job that needs to get done, and he's going to do it by all means necessary, Captain America. Captain America is your Avengers leader, hands down.
I guess I can't argue with that. I mean, I feel like I think we're using a lot of historical what's the word I'm looking for? Historical
There's not a mission out there that the Avengers can tackle that Captain America isn't already prepared and equipped for. He's a super soldier,
over some of these guys.
He's got what it takes to lead the Avengers. That's why he is considered the first Avenger, even though he wasn't part of the first Avengers team.
Yeah, ironically speaking. No, I guess I don't know. I'm with you. It makes it sense. It's a perfectly reasonable choice, but yeah, I'm with it. All right, we're on number two. I didn't realize that my team. Okay, so number two for me was Luke Cage. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Then Blade.
Yeah,
I'm detecting an underlying theme here.
Storm. Oh, and then you guys might not even know this one. No, not and then Falcon, and then Bishop, and then do you guys remember what's it called? Sergeant Fury?
Yeah.
Or yeah, Gabe Jones. He was the black guy who was with Sergeant Fury in this comic. Okay, no. It's Tony Stark. I mean, again, in this case, I like someone who is he's Iron Man, for goodness sakes. He's the emotional heartbeat of this team. Because let's face it, you're not getting a lot of you're getting a lot of heart, you're getting a lot of courage, the intangibles out of a Captain America or a T'Challa. But we need someone who is actually confirmed like human in terms of making mistakes, being foolhardy at times, but is another in just one of the top minds in comics. The financial backing is extraordinary. Knows how to rally a team with his charisma to get them together. I mean, he is the lifeblood of the Avengers. He was in the MCU. He'll be for my team. He is in general. So good that he can go to the West Coast Avengers and make them a thing. So, yeah, Tony
Stark, huh?
Tony Stark.
Who comes in at number 2 for you, Jay?
So, number 2 for me is Wolverine, and I'll tell you why. I not only is the dude like just what out of just like being the most savage, toughest dudes around, and virtually indestructible guy, but I think it's cool to have somebody on your team that when the leader's like moral compass kind of how should I say, infringes on what actually has to be done. I think like people like Wolverine, like Black Widow, like Punisher, someone that's just not afraid to get their hands dirty, is essential on a team. And for my team, I picked Wolverine for that.
Very nice.
Okay.
Number 2 for me is Nightcrawler.
We're getting weird for our number 2.
Think about that. Nightcrawler makes the perfect Avengers team because anytime you need a stealth mission, he can teleport. He's got perfect hand-to-hand combat. He's a skilled swords fighter. You know, Nightcrawler maybe doesn't have the super abilities that most heroes do, the super strength and the physical attributes, but he can teleport and he's a skilled fighter. I think it makes him a perfect member of the Avengers, depending on the situation they're facing.
Yeah, excellent.
I can kind of get with that. All right. I'm going number 3 now.
Number 3 spot.
All right. We need someone who can move. We need someone, like to the teleportation and whatever for Nightcrawler. We need someone who is able to be a person. We need intelligence here. Bam. Back. You know what I mean? Scouting. Missions that involve stealth. I'm going Quicksilver. Okay? I'm going Quicksilver. Solid choice. We know hand-to-hand combat. You can't go wrong with that gray hair. No. But also, I'm looking at something now with a fighting team. We have some firepower with Tony. We have all-around hand-to-hand brilliance of T'Challa. We got to have someone out there who can havoc, get to certain points, take out enemies from far away, kind of scout things out, and that's why I'm going Quicksilver.
Cool.
I can't disagree with a little bit of Quicksilver love.
There we go. Just a little.
I wish I could find a reason not to add him, but I got nothing. I think it's a solid choice.
Yeah.
What do you got, Jay? Number 3.
So for my number 3, what you guys were saying about intelligence, espionage, I think I was thinking along those lines also. And for me, for my team member that would take care of this aspect is Sue Storm. I mean, you can't get much sneakier than the Invisible Woman.
Jessica Alba version?
What's that?
The Jessica Alba?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's a good one. That's
like
always a
that
good
one.
version.
Jay's like, oh no, not the Jessica Alba one, but
Well, just
sure,
looks wise, that would be
The one
good.
from the 90s direct DVD version. I feel it. Cool. Okay, Sue Storm. I like it. Let's see how did Matt do the drafting for his spot here.
So number 3 for me, I kind of went in. I kind of played on Jay's number 2 and Wolverine a little bit. Coming to the number 3 spot for me, I got X-23. Let's face it, she's better than Wolverine. She was made to be better than Wolverine. She is the perfect killing machine. She's got the adamantium claws in not only her hands but her feet. She's got the perfect defense. She's got the healing. She's just that all around perfect encompassed killing machine that is a heavy hitter. You got Captain America leading the way, Nightcrawler teleporting X-23 in and just letting her go to town, and she's clearing house. So number 3, X-23 is a no-brainer for me.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Like
Cool.
too.
No, X-23, number 3 for me. Yeah.
No, X-23 is a no-brainer for me.
Oh.
There it is.
Okay. All right. Well, my number 4. I feel like he's someone who, again, I talked about emotion. He doesn't really have that, but he kind of brings the superhuman strength, the immovability. You have the superhuman analytical capability of Vision. I gotta go with Vision. I mean, the dude, we already saw all of his powers in the MCU. Take that, add like several different things to that in the comic version. Even take in the comics the Solar Jewel, the I'm forgetting the stone now. What stone is it?
He's got the Mind Stone, doesn't he?
The Mind Stone. I was gonna say the Mind Stone, but that seemed too obvious. Yeah, the fact that, I mean, you being able to be an AI to join that, to be a product of that. Someone who can look at things analytically and almost dispassionately, but just seeing, okay, a means to an end. T'Challa has some of that as well, but we already know that with him and with Iron Man that we have some emotional barometers there. And Quicksilver's kind of a wild card on all of this, just as the alliance with the Magneto and Scarlet Witch and everything there. So with Vision, you already have the superhuman power set that we would need on fighting. We also have someone who is mad intelligent and can make the decisions needed for the greater good. And for the Avengers, I think you need that person, and I think I have that person. So Vision.
Kind of feel like you're just going with the standard Avengers team here, Corbin.
I mean, listen, you can't.
I've been expecting that just shock and awe moment. I'm hoping it's still coming because we're only on number 4. But
exactly, but my shock and awe moments wouldn't be like number 2
you never know.
I mean, no offense to either y'all. The Wolverine didn't make my list at all. I didn't realize that, but I got some heavy hitters in the back.
All right.
Sure.
I'm waiting by the seat of my pants. I was wearing pants because let's be honest, we're all on. No one's wearing pants.
Yeah. I'm literally from here down. I don't even have a bottom half of the shirt. It's just
It's just a half
You
shirt.
got a belly shirt on, huh?
exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta let the airflow, man.
That's funny.
All right.
So for my number 4, I chose somebody so Avengers deal, not only deal with foes here on Earth, but but they also deal with intergalactic threats, right? Threats that come from the deepest corners of the cosmos. So for somebody to deal with this to understand and deal with this kind of threat, I chose Silver Surfer.
Solid choice.
The power's cosmic. Can't go wrong.
No, you cannot. For my number 4 coming in, you got to have that heavy hitter. You got to have someone with the power of a god and the powers of Thor. And if you can't have Thor, why not the next best thing? My number 4, Beta Ray fucking Bill. There you go. Beta Ray Bill, number 4.
Beta Ray Bill.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He fought Thor to a stalemate. And now that he's got the powers of Thor, along with Stormbreaker, he's a no-brainer for me.
Wow.
Beta Ray Bill, number 4.
All right. Well, I'm going with someone who also has some experience with Thor. A little bit back in the day. And this one is a blast from the past. He joined the Avengers in Avengers 71. But I just liked him because he's a swords guy and a kicking guy at that. Black Knight, also known as Dane Whitman. He was actually going to be one of, I think it was the Masters of Evil. I have to look it up to make sure what it was. But he was going to be basically was something passed down to him, and he was going to be a villain. And he turned out to go, no, you know what? I'm going to do the noble thing, the right thing. And I think he first started. He was he battled with the Avengers. His uncle was actually kind of brought to an end by Iron Man, and later joined them and was with them for a couple of years. And so he has hand-to-hand combat skills. He's a great swordsman. He's a war strategist. He's a master tactician in that area. And he has these cool weapons, a Sword of Light and the Shield of Night. And I feel like he got those two where do you go wrong? That's some not cosmic entity, but there's some supernatural elements there. In addition to being someone who, was on both sides of the law, so you have that internal, I want to say, knowledge of what the villain might do there. And you're a swordsman, man. You're a swordsman. Also, I had to go with someone who actually formed an Avengers roster like early. So going back 40 years was nothing to me. So Black Knight, Dane Whitman. Put your comic hats on for that one,
Yeah.
That was a surprising one to me.
That's a deep cut.
There's that deep cut I've been waiting for. Instead of that run of the mill Avengers, that's that deep cut. What do you got? Number 5, Jay.
So mine's not so deep, but I think that a magical presence is essential in a team. And I can't.
If you
can't
never
think of
played
anybody.
D&D, what has D&D taught us if that magical presence isn't in any team you have, right?
Right. So none other than Dr. Strange, than Stephen Strange, the master of mysticism. I think it's essential.
There you go. I don't know how essential magic is, but I mean, like I just said, every D&D campaign has said otherwise. So I didn't put any magic in mine, but kudos to you for that one. Because I mean, I guess I thought a bit differently. I tried to stay away from your normal Avengers when I'm building my team, and that's
so
why.
you admit that you're trying to be different.
Well, no. So coming in at number 5, I have Spider-Man. Hold up. Wait a minute. Not Peter Parker Spider-Man. Miles Morales Spider-Man. If you're doing a mission where you need stealth and you need invisibility, he's got that invisibility. He's got his Venom Blast, which is something that Peter Parker doesn't have that can come in handy to paralyze and to take out enemies. And then he's got the normal spider power. He's got the spider sense. He's got the strength. He's got the web shooters. He's the perfect replacement for your normal Peter Parker Spider-Man, with a little bit of an upgrade when it comes to the invisibility and the Venom Blast. So for me, number 5, Miles Morales.
Oh,
sweet.
That's not bad. At least for me, I went into another iteration of a hero. Going Ultimate Iron Man. No, I'm just kidding.
Why not? What's better than one Iron Man on your team than 2, right?
Especially the Ultimate version. No, I feel like every king needs a queen. Got to make my man happy. I'm going in line with the subplot of this team. I'm sure we're catching the drift. I got to grab Storm to go along with this team. Someone who is a great leader, led the X-Men for a while. So we have, again, more of those capabilities like I was mentioning before. You have someone to control the elements. I mean, it's literally in her name, Storm. You have the experience with the X-Men there. She can draw back on missions and stuff from that. The chemistry with T'Challa, I think, will be important, not only for T'Challa, for our team. And I could go wrong with someone out there who could use their power set in a different way for this team, as I'm trying to build for different levels of combat. And so that's why Storm has to be there.
Yeah, and well, she's got that pickpocketing skill, so you never know when that might come in handy. Well,
I mean, you're right. You're right. CJ, I appreciate that. There we go.
Yeah, all of yours had just barely didn't make my main team. Wow. Storm almost. I was trying to find a way to fit Storm in there, but she
couldn't do it.
Just barely got squeezed out. But
I feel you.
So, what are we up to? 5?
Number 6.
Oh, we're on number 6.
Okay, 6 is so. Here's the weird thing. I always thought it was so funny that Marvel has so many telepaths, and DC hardly has any. But anyway, so I think that's another aspect to cover on a team. You need someone who can defend your team against psychic attacks as well as dole it out. So for my number 6 is Phoenix, Jean Grey.
Okay.
Interesting.
That is a wild card for that Avengers team, I might say.
Yeah. Watch out.
But you gotta have.
I'm stepping on what you're dropping because I think we got the same wavelength there in one spot. But my number 6 is when you're thinking of an Avengers team, you want a team that's just absolutely unbeatable, that can stand up against any threat, whether it's home or cosmic. So I had to go with someone that had unbeatable in their name, and that's the unbeatable Squirrel Girl. She took down Thanos by herself with a pack of squirrels. Do I need to say anything more?
Okay.
Squirrel Girl, unbeatable Squirrel Girl is a no-brainer for my Avengers team.
All right.
Okay. I gotta go with it, I guess. I mean, we're reaching real deep now. We're doing some Matrix level stretching to put Squirrel Girl taking out Thanos there, but no, fine.
She did it. She did.
It happened. All right, number 7 for me. I also kind of went the same way that Matt did as far as picking a Spider-Man. Also not picking the Peter Parker Spider-Man, but I went a different direction.
29.
Whereas I was going to say, my man Matt took Mr. Morales. I had to take Mr. O'Hara. I took Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. You got superhuman agility, reflexes, telepathy in some cases. He's been known to communicate with others on that level. Durability, you got accelerated vision. You have fangs. You have the healing factor. I mean, you have the kicking costume. You have, I love the whole futuristic is the word I was looking for, element of it all. I had to go with the Spider-Man like that, and I think that his skill set works for me in a better way than maybe a Miles Morales would, who was a close call. It's sad that Peter Parker didn't even make it for me, but I even went to the Marvel Encyclopedia, and let me see, I have my doc here pulled up. On the power grid, O'Hara is 4 on intelligence, 4 on strength, 4 on speed, 3 on durability, 2 on energy projection, and 2 on fighting skills. But when you have all those other superhuman attributes, I don't think that the hand-to-hand is that bad or that much of a knock by not having it. So Mr. Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, is on the list for me at number 7.
I have to admit, when you have a Spider-Man on your team, I don't think you want him to be your weak link. And I think so far on the team you're dropping, Miguel O'Hara is your weak link.
But he's a dang good weak link, though. He's a dang good weak link. I mean, listen, I just told you he has some. I think it's him is some of that telepathy.
Kudos to you for going deep enough to pull up the power grid, though, too. Like,
yeah. Oh, I went in. He has computer skills. If we want to stretch that even more, there was one comic where what did he do? He had hit multiple times. Like, he had a good vision that I could say marksman is like. I don't know. I'm stretching here. The point is, he's decent. Okay, he's had good training on fighting as far as hand to hand, but I feel he's good, and I think that we can negate some of that fighting for the fact that the dude has fangs. I mean, I don't gotta do all that much to bite you. I got venom. I'm just saying.
That's reaching, but I'll give it to you. I
mean, okay.
I'll give it to you.
Oh man.
What do you got at number 7?
At number 7, I'm going along the lines of Matt's necessity to have an Asgardian and to have just somebody that's just going to, kick butt. And while choosing like a Thor, but a little less pompous, a little more grounded. One of my surprise, for me, one of the surprise hits after that whole Secret Wars was Jane Foster Thor. She's just powerful, non-pompous, and yet powerful enough to take on Asgardian threats. And that's why she's my number 7.
Dang. Surprised the whole cancer thing wasn't a knock to not add her on there. But I guess she's in remission while she's Thor. So yeah, that's true.
Okay.
But my number 7 is like you got the Tony Starks out there, right? You want someone who, if you're gonna have an Avengers team like mine, is built on stealth, getting in quietly, hitting hard, and getting out. And you want someone who can maybe get into places a man in a giant iron suit can't get. A man who questionably might be a little bit smarter than Tony Stark in some aspects. So I had to go with my number 7, Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards.
Wow.
Excellent.
Reed Richards.
All right.
He's your tech guy. He's got your intelligence, the ability to stretch any part of his body, and I mean any part of his body. Hello, ladies.
Easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the ultimate addition to an Avengers team.
He is fantastic. Okay, I'm just kidding. All right, cool. All right, so we're on number 8 now?
Yep, number 8.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to go with someone traditional, and then I said, let me do some research. Found someone who was briefly a member of the Avengers for a time. For you comic book heads, Avengers 329, check it. He was given probationary membership, which is close enough for me. We are going with Mr. William Baker, better known as Mr. Flint Marco, better known as Mr. Sandman.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You're going a villain. I was trying to stay away from the...
Yeah.
We'll get there, but there's a curveball.
I told you I had some curves in there for you. We already know his power set, being able to use his sand to literally transform into a variety of weapons.
I'll just throw some water on him and turn him into mud.
Being able to form gigantic size to the point that you need a lot of water. I mean, from a strictly power set position, I think that he's one of the stronger members. He's been an ally off and on of Spider-Man. I was going to use Peter Parker, but I think by using Miguel O'Hara, we have a little nice change of pace here between the two. And I have more heavy hitters coming, but this is where the last 3 were kind of filled out with heavy hitter roles. So he is one of those spots, Mr. Sandman.
You got the only guy in your Avengers team that could be thwarted by a drunk dude at a bar who's ready to break that seal, huh? Could turn him from sand to mud.
You're
real quick. Real quick. All right, what you got? Number 8, Jay.
So for my number 8, Corbin already had him on his team, but I figured, so I started thinking about resources, funding, and so you got either Tony Stark.
I think it's funny that you just mentioned Corbin, resources, and funding all in the same sentence. That's something Corbin is non-existent in his life, is funding.
And so you got Tony Stark or T'Challa, and who is kind of like easier to work with here? Who has the non-ego?
Oh, I'm waiting to hear Jay tell me who's easy to work with here, because all I hear about is not easy to work with.
Who's a little bit less of a kind of a douche, and that's T'Challa, in my opinion. So I kind of went with T'Challa for my number 8.
Wakanda forever, huh?
That's how we have to do it.
So my number 8 kind of comes in. Jay had her, I believe, 2 spots higher at 6, but I have Jean Grey at number 8 for all the same reasons you did. I feel like the Avengers need that telepath. They need that. If they don't have that mystical, magical powered being like Scarlet Witch, you've got Jean Grey. The next best thing would be a telepath. So Jean Grey for me. I was going to go Xavier. I was like, he already leads the X-Men.
Yeah, or I almost went Emma Frost too.
Emma Frost too, yeah. But let's
little too unpredictable.
Let's give Jean Grey a little bit of shine here.
I like it.
So that's my number 8.
For my number 9, I was thinking, okay, these are 2 priorities for me. I needed some more muscle, and I needed a unique color. And I was like, you know what? I have green. I have She-Hulk. I have Hulk. But what's better than green? Okay, let me not get myself in trouble. I chose Luke.
It's so fun when you get yourself in trouble. That's the funnest part.
I can see myself going down treacherous path there. I chose Luke Cage, did my research, got the comic that he was in. Remember Avengers Disassembled? They had the New Avengers number 3. Check it out. He was an Avenger. Boom. We already know his power set. The dude is darn near indestructible. Just built as I don't know what. Always bet on black. Even though Blade said it, I'm taking it. So Luke Cage, number 9.
Nice.
Who you got at number 9, Jay?
So in recent issues of the X-Force, every team needs the guy in the chair or girl in the chair, right? Somebody that's kind of overseeing things, kind of like always in the earpiece, guiding the boots on the ground. And
number 9 Jay has Genki from Spider-Man or Ned in the movies.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
And in recent issues of X-Force, Beast made a really good guy in the chair. The dude was smart. He was calm, collected, and that's what you need from a guy that's guiding the team on the ground. So for my number 9 is Hank McCoy.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one. I believe he's been an Avenger before too, so that's a good one. My number 9, I went with thinking that second in command kind of guy. You need that guy that can pick up if your Captain America falls, your leader falls. That guy who's also got that military background, that no nonsense kind of guy. The guy that can get in and get the job done. And at number 9, I went with Agent Venom, Flash Thompson.
That's good. Solid choice.
Yeah, I like it. Noble guy. Got obviously the Venom symbiote being very powerful. I like it.
So he's got his military background and to go with the Venom and the abilities that come with Venom, you can't go wrong with the second in command like Agent Venom, Flash Thompson.
All right. So for my number 10, I figured, you know what? It's not all about, the battle and, having to gear our mind to what is the best team to fight. Sometimes we need to relax and to kick back and fight everything. So I needed a character who, could get their way around the team. Everybody could have a crack with the member of this team, and it'd be a way for them all to unwind together. So I went back and looked through the Marvel swimsuit editions, and
nice.
I was gonna go with She-Hulk, but I like Psylocke better.
I was gonna say Psylocke was always the one that looked the best in those.
That's why I picked Psylocke. I don't know if she's actually an Avenger. Didn't get enough to my research there, but the 10th spot was like a throwaway spot to me. Just someone to, hey, I know T'Challa's having a bad, well, T'Challa has Storm. I mean, I get T'Challa in trouble. I know that Iron Man's having a bad day. Let's send Psylocke to him. You know what I mean? Just someone to liven up team a little bit, aesthetically speaking. Also, I mean, weird, her power set. So, boom.
You got that eye candy, so your Avengers team walks around with mega huge hard rock boners, huh? So you went with Psylocke.
Rock hard, baby. Yeah, you already know. I mean, I got a good looking team already as is, so I
can't do this battle. I got to go home. Why? What's wrong with you? I don't want to say. Do you have a boner right now? A huge mega hard rock boner. Got to go home.
Hard, baby. So that's that to close my team is that pick. Psylocke. We already know her strengths. We might not even need him for that, but it really just cements that my team is going to be a good-looking roster.
Jay coming in at number 10, the final spot.
So my number 10, so again, I was looking at all the threats out there, all the different ways foes can be coming at you, right? So one of the ways I figured was the supernatural threat. And in recent issues of Avengers, this guy is on the roster, and surprisingly, it works. And I'm talking about Blade. He kind of takes over like the street level that like Hawkeye or Black Widow had covered in previous rosters. And it just it works. He fits in, and I think there's none other guy I'd want to battle, some sort of supernatural monster threat than this guy. So that's my number 10.
I like it.
My number 10. You need that smooth talker. When you have an Avengers team that's built like mine, you need, like I said, for a mission that's stealth, get in, hit hard, get out. You need that smooth talker. You need that master criminal. You need that guy who's got that background, that quick pickpocket, that master thief that can get in and out of any situation. My number 10, you got the Prince of the Bayou himself, Gambit.
That's a good one.
Gambit coming in at number 10 to pull or to finish off my Avengers team. I don't think you can go wrong with someone like Gambit on your side. Could talk himself out of a situation or blast himself out, whatever he's got to do. And he kind of takes up. He's kind of like your Clinton Barton, like you were saying, your Hawkeye, but a little bit of spice, a little bit of Cajun spice on top of it. So
Cajun,
huh?
I see your weak spot. He just speaks Cajun.
Get out of here.
The Raging Cajun.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, he'll be a hoot for the team when they bring in Popeyes.
Yep. Oh wow. Oh wow.
Have some more extra spicy, petite.
Wow.
All right. That was, I mean, honorable mention. I'm just gonna run through. I had 3. I had Daredevil, I had Punisher, and I had She-Hulk. Daredevil and Punisher were 2 street level, either street level too little for me, and or morally ambiguous, and or it was either you or Luke Cage between She-Hulk. So that's why they were left off.
That was a good honorable. Did you have any honorable mentions, Jay?
Yeah. So I had Magic, Ileana Rasputin.
That'd have been a good one.
Yeah. Polaris. Because again, a non-pompous Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Medusa from Inhumans, kind of my second in command. Emma Frost, like we're talking about, she's a little bit too nutso. And Kitty Pryde, again, the espionage thing.
Nice. Yeah, my honorable mentions were that just narrowly missed making my list were Kitty Pryde, like you just said. I had Dr. Doom, Charles Xavier. Those were my 3 honorable mentions. And I flirted with putting She-Hulk on there because like you need that strong Hulk type character, I think. But you kind of get that in my team with Beta Ray Bill. So you don't, that Beta Ray Bill's kind of a mixture. So I left her off, but there you go, guys. There's our Avengers team. Let's go ahead and run through our entire list one more time, starting with Corbin. Who makes up your Avengers team one more time?
All right, the super awesome, mega spectacular Avengers team: Black Panther, Iron Man, Vision, Quicksilver, Black Knight. Do your research, folks. Spider-Man 2099, Sandman, Luke Cage, and Psylocke. That's 10.
Jay?
I like Psylocke. I wish I would put Psylocke on mine. So mine is Captain America, Wolverine, Invisible Woman, Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, Jean Grey, Jane Foster, Black Panther, Beast, and Blade.
It's a strong setup too. And so my Avengers team is Captain America, Nightcrawler, X-23, Beta Ray Bill, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Squirrel Girl, Mr. Fantastic, Jean Grey, Agent Venom, and Gambit. So now this is where you, the listener, get to come in. If you're watching this live on YouTube or listening to us back on Monday or Tuesday when this gets put out, most likely Tuesday because Monday is we put out Absolute Geek and I don't want to cross those 2 shows. So most likely Tuesday when this goes out for you listeners. Tell us, you get to vote. You can vote on YouTube. The eye above my head right here. Vote and tell us who had the best Avengers team. Was it Corbin? Was it Jay? Or was it myself? Who you think picked the best Avengers team? And we'll award a winner and we'll announce it next week on next week's show, hopefully, if people participate.
And mine is in the chats if you're interested.
There you go. Corbin's team is in the chat, and I might add it on there too to kind of refresh everyone's memory about who had what team in the Facebook page and stuff, so you can go vote there, or like I said, in the eye above my head. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Spinner Act. Do you guys have anything else you want to kind of touch on comic book wise before we end today? Anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, I'm good.
Anything going on in the comic book industry that are you guys excited about DC coming back? Are you guys excited that we're getting back to maybe going to be able to get new comics here soon?
Okay, so how are these guys coming back? Is it through Diamond or are they using different channels?
Right now, DC is shipping books. There's a small amount of books that should already be at your LCS whenever they open up, depending on how your state is doing its corona reopening. They should already have a shipment there. They're using 2 different distributors right now. And then once, as far as I'm aware, Diamond gets back up and running. I don't know if they're going to still go through Diamond. That kind of hasn't really been... They say they're committed to Diamond, but we don't know. That really hasn't been worked out yet. So they're going to be going through multiple distributors. Marvel's sticking with Diamond. Everyone else is sticking with Diamond. DC's kind of the only one that's ventured off into these other 2. Marvel, we don't know when they're coming back. They're saying speculation is end of May. Marvel himself is saying not until June. In the middle of June, we won't see until So who knows? There's so much information swirling around out there. You don't know what really to kind of believe. We'll stay on top of it for you guys, and we'll keep you updated on what your local LCS is doing. Well, maybe not your local LCS, but what Diamond is doing and how books are getting to your local LCS, I should say. So, when you can go back to that store and continue being those Wednesday warriors that you all are, I'm sure.
Yeah, just can't wait for books to come. Like, that's the exciting thing for me. Back issues are fun. Trade paperbacks are my thing always, but books, just having them come back and being able to talk about them and discuss them will be fun again. So,
like I said, this not having weekly books has been nice because it's allowed me to save up a little bit of funds and dive into those more expensive books that before I wasn't, because you're getting books every Wednesday. Not having books for a few weeks has kind of made that nice, but I'm ready to get going. We had a lot of good storylines going on that kind of got left hanging in the air by all of this, and we'll see what happens with DC moving forward, and Diamond and Marvel and local LCSs, and see, hopefully your local LCS is in good enough shape to where they're able to come back after all this, because it's been hard on them too. But
one other thing I wanted to touch on really quick is Corbin mentioning Wizard magazine. I truly believe that the comics industry suffers because of the absence of Wizard magazine. I know you were saying that you weren't around, you weren't into Wizard when it was new.
Yeah,
but dude, it was like, just the way they're written, they're like a comics fanzine. They're fun, they're informative, and it just brought the comic book community together in a way that, since it's gone, nothing else really has. And you used to be able to get Wizard magazine at Walgreens or Circle K's. They'd just be sitting there, and they'd have all their casting, their fan casting departments, and just interviews, and it was just really just a comprehensive little monthly magazine that just kind of united the comic book community. And I really, really miss it. I wish there was something out there that would do that, but there isn't.
No, I agree. I also think it just had more of a direct line of the industry to fans. There wasn't a lot of all the projecting and hot takes that you see. Yeah, there was some interesting things in there, but for the most part, it was a mostly reputable magazine. And so the comments and information was mostly stuff that you could reference. You had that direct interaction with, I'm reading now, Jim Lee and others who were able to go on there for a feature on their new book to promo that, or talk about when they're leaving, or whatever the case may be. Inside stories on developing. And the rise of technology, and I'm sure other things kind of made that obsolete in some ways, but also I think there's just a lack of general understanding of how the books really work and how the comic industry works outside of those real hard fans. And you're right, it does seem like it filled a gap for those, in addition to the fan casting and comic movie related stuff that you're referencing, Jay. So I'm with you. As I collect them and pick them up and read them, I'm like, wow, something like this would be awesome. Right now you have Bleeding Cool and things of that sort, Combination, all that, but something that was not only just for the information, the latest news, but also stuff that was about the industry, the high and low rising books and everything of that sort, that someone could pick up and go, wow, okay, this is what I need to be investing in. This is what I need to keep an eye out for in the market, whatever the case may be. And it's a shame, but yeah, I agree with you.
See, I don't think the market's there for Wizard magazine anymore, and I think that's why it doesn't exist. You've got podcasts now. You've got podcasts like us that do fan casting and talk about all this stuff. You got Bleeding Cool. You've got Comic Nation. You've got comicbook.com. You've got comic book resources. You've got all these sites out there and these blogs that do what Wizard did for its time. Wizard was great because it got that information out there to the consumer when they couldn't access it so quickly.
Yeah.
And now you can access that information. If Dan Slott's leaving, Iron Man, we heard about that within hours. When Dan Didier got fired, we heard about that within minutes.
Yeah.
So
it was cool though, but because you had all that in one spot, and in some of those that you mentioned, they're very tabloidish. They're
Well,
very opinionated, and
I'm
some
glad
of
you
the
said that because you get all of that in one spot every Friday night on Absolute Geek Podcast, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, or not Eastern, but 7:30 p.m. Arizona time, right here on YouTube, right here on this very channel.
some of the I'm not saying Absolute Geek or us especially, but there's a lot of podcasts out there, comic book related podcasts that clearly do not know what they're talking about, and it's frustrating to hear. And
Don't I know it? Yes,
you know
I
that
know.
the guys in Wizard seemed like they knew their stuff, and if you're going to print something, you better make sure it's right, or the information is as factual as you can confirm it, not just off the cuff, internet rumors, all that is such BS, and I'm not a fan of any of that. So for that reason, yeah. But like there are certain websites that do seem more legit than others, and there's just not a market for it anymore. It's a product of a bygone time, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else, guys?
I'm good.
All right.
God, yeah.
Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, today on this relaunch of Tales from the Spinner Rack. We're going to try to be here every Sunday, 3 o'clock Arizona time, to bring you guys all that sweet, sweet comic book review and news love. But if this is your first time finding us, hopefully it is, because we're a new show here on YouTube. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you had a good time. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think your top 10 Avengers team would be. If you're listening to this on the playback, when we drop it, got to still discuss with the guys what days we want to drop the playback. For the audio listeners, make sure to leave us a review. Hit that like, make sure to subscribe and leave us reviews. That will always help us in the podcasting standings. And for this week's episode of Tales from the Spinner Rack, I'm Matt.
I'm Corbin.
And I'm Jay.
Saying, remember to support your local comic shops. Keep them bagged and boarded. Wash your hands. And we'll see you right here next week. Same Spinner Rack time. Same Spinner Rack channel. For more of that lovely, lovely comic goodness. As we make love to your ears with that comic knowledge.